everyone, before we keep going here, I need to tell you about our teammates at Darby Communications. Like I've been telling you, if you run an outdoor, an endurance, or an active lifestyle brand, there is no better PR and digital marketing belay partner or drinking buddy than Darby. They can help your business reach new heights, and they might just keep you from falling on your ass. Since we started working with Darby, more and more people, and this is an important point now, guys, I want you to hear me on this, more and more people have reached out to us here at the Rock Fight because of that messaging. Look, guys, I'm dead serious. If they can help us, they can help anybody. Hit them up at darbycommunications.com. Do it today. Welcome to the Rock Fight, where we speak our truth, slay sacred cows, and sometimes agree to disagree. This is an outdoor podcast that aims for the head. I'm Colin True, and today we're talking outdoor pop culture and why you should care with Gear Abbey herself, Shawnté Salabert. Before we get to that, go back to hear Monday's episode where we talk about the potential demands of REI. On Wednesday, Justin Hausman and I talked about some recent stories that come out of the outdoor community. And before we get started, we need you to follow the Rock Fight on whatever podcast app you are listening to us on, and also sign up for News from the Front, the Rock Fight's weekly newsletter. Head to rockfight.co and click join the mailing list. Stick around. We'll be right back. You're listening to Rock Fight Radio. Hey, ladies, germs, and groms, it's DJ CT, and you're listening to Rock Fight Radio. Get ready for more of that whole foot comfort from Fitz, because we have the follow-up to their massive hit single, Bold Sock. Here it is. Let's drop the needle on So Many Fits.
There's a Fitz for the snow, the road or the trail, like picking a salad from romaine, iceberg or kale, from small to double XL, every size in the line. Custom comfort dressing fits every time. Cushion so thin you barely know it's there. Or max out the padding, warm beyond compare. Boots to no shows, invisibles too. Whatever you're after, there's a Fitz for you. So many fits to fit you just right. Whole foot comfort, day or night. From the heel to the toe, the solid to the fair, like a sock custom made for you to wear. Oh, so many fits, yeah, so many fits. No matter your size, no matter your style, Fitz will take you mile by mile. With cushioning choices and sizes galore, slip them on once and you'll ask for more.
And now, back to the show. All right, if you've been listening to the show long enough, you know that I'm as interested in pop culture as I am in the outdoors or the outdoor industry. I love movies in particular, but also TV and music. To a lesser extent, books. I like books, but I kind of, I'm a kind of hit or miss guy when it comes to books. I also find the intersection of the outdoors and pop culture to be pretty compelling because there's multiple versions of the outdoor experience that lend itself to movies and TV because it's a great way to show off that backcountry scenery, but also music and especially books because of the storytelling aspect of it all. So to dig into this a little bit and to set the stage for more outdoor pop culture conversations, whether you, the listener, want them or not, here on The Rock Fight, we're excited to have Shawnté Salabert joining us. Welcome back to the show, Shawnté.
Woohoo! Oh, I am so thrilled to be here today, and I cannot wait because I already know that you and I are going to have some friction.
I know. So it's still going to be very rock fighty.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
you got
what
to
matters.
always, that is the heart of this podcast is friction. I don't know if you knew that or if you planned for that.
A lot of ways I can interpret that comment.
Just think sandpaper, like emotional sandpaper.
Emotional sandpaper. Rock Fight. The emotional sandpaper of the outdoor industry. Well, I want to start our outdoor pop culture journey with movies. It's the medium that it probably has the biggest swings and misses, when it comes to depicting the activities we love to do. There are 3 movies that we've talked about offline. I figured kind of an interesting case study for this conversation. Those movies are A Walk in the Woods, Wild, and Touching the Void. So we had
classics, the triumvirate, if you will.
Do you think A Walk in the Woods has gotten there? Do you think it's
no,
classic
actually, I don't.
Yeah.
I have feelings about that movie.
No, I think I probably understand them. But
no,
it's
I think probably 127 hours is probably part of the triumvirate.
I had them as sort of an honorable mention that we should talk about. But I like A Walk in the Woods because it isn't 127 hours, which was nominated for Best Picture and is just a good movie. I think Walk in the Woods is probably a little more representative of most outdoor movies in a way. Kind of like the everyman of outdoor movies. It's not like
yes.
they all like they're all kind of missing something, but there's a little bit of something. I don't know. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
Well, let's talk about each of these movies. So which one are you interested in discussing first?
I mean, let's just get started with friction and start with A Walk in the Woods. Why don't we?
Okay. So the interesting thing to me about A Walk in the Woods, and if anyone out there has not seen A Walk in the Woods, it's an adaptation of Bill Bryson's book about his attempt to hike the Appalachian Trail, which is
Appalachian.
Oh, sorry. Excuse me. Is that well? I don't know if everyone's actually corrected. You're right, but I mean, wow, like that's a bugaboo for you.
It's just how you say it.
Are you sure? We're sure.
I'm sure.
Okay.
I know that before in other episodes of the podcasts, I've been unsure about how to pronounce things, but as a through hikey person, as a backpacker, shush your mouth. This is one thing I feel pretty good about.
Okay.
Appalachian Trail.
So is Bill Bryson's attempt to hike the Appalachian Trail.
Love it.
Pretty well, very, I would say, even if, I know tell me your thoughts on the book. You've read A Walk in the Woods.
Oh, yeah. I am a big Bill Bryson fan. I find his writing to be pretty, it's just standardly funny. Like, in a sunburnt country, his book, I mean, to me, that is his best book. His book about being in Australia, traveling around Australia, where everything basically wants to kill you. And that's how I actually got to A Walk in the Woods, was through In a Sunburnt Country, not through thinking about the AT or hiking or anything. It was like, oh, I want to read some more Bill Bryson. Like, I've read Dark Star Safari, and I was like, oh, A Walk in the Woods. I like woods. I like walking. What's not to love? And okay, so do you want my opinion? You want my opinion on the book?
Yeah, let's start with the book.
I, unlike you, am a voracious reader. I love reading. There is not enough time in the day for me to read everything I want to read. My unread pile is absolutely atrocious, but it delights me. So A Walk in the Woods, it's a classic Bill Bryson, right? He's like this hapless guy. He goes out there and he's like bumbling around in the woods with his buddy, equally bumbly. And they're like the everymen. And so in that way, it's a classic Bill Bryson book. I have no complaints about it from the Bill Bryson perspective. Like, I enjoyed reading it. I thought the book was fine.
Okay.
It's not exactly
I see where you're going with
my
this.
thing.
Yeah.
So the book is fine with me. I like Bill. I like his vibe. I'm cool with it. What did you think about the book?
Well, I love the book. I've read it several times.
Several times?
Yeah, at least
Wow.
3, probably more.
You know, there's other books out there.
Well, see, this is where I get to with books. Like, I'm a voracious acquirer of books that I never read. So like that's.
I mean, I'm an acquirer as well. What you can't see right now is all the books in front of me. I do eventually read them, though.
Yeah, it's kind of like yoga or surfing in a way with books, where it's kind of like when I'm reading a book I really like, I'm like, I gotta read more, and then I stop reading for like 9 months at a time. I'm like, I gotta start reading more.
That's like me and the beach. Yeah, I go to the beach and I'm like, well, this is nice. I live in California. Why don't I take advantage?
This is like an hour from my house? What?
Yeah, it's not half an hour from me because I live on the other side of LA, but yeah, it's the same concept. I get there and I'm like, I should do this more. Womp, womp, womp.
Right. So, and I think just as the older I get and the more, there are more movies and TV shows that I've missed, that I kind of prioritize that over books. But I have read Walk in the Woods several times. I read it shortly after it came out, and I was working at Eastern Mountain Sports. I was really probably why it resonates a little bit more with me, because I was really kind of just starting my outdoor journey around the same time that I read it for the first time. I was living in New England. He's based in New England he was in New Hampshire. I was in New Hampshire when the book starts. So it just definitely resonated with me. And I mean, and then there's the Bryson of it all, which I think is sort of his hallmark, which is, it's his adventures, but you get all of this incredible history as well, right? Is the cat... I saw the cat walking.
I'm so sorry, my cat is yowling. My cat is a little high. She's on gabapentin right now. She's coming down off of it, really.
This is a weird experiment that Shawnté does daily.
She's got thoughts about Walk in the Woods as well.
Feeds drugs to her cat to see what happens. Yeah. That's the...
training to be a vet.
ASPCA is going to knock on their door at any second now.
It's terrible. I love animals, especially mine.
So when they made a movie out of it, I was dubious. I'm like, oh no, like what are you going to, because I think one of my favorite parts of the book is like learning the history of the AT and sort of learning, and it is the Bryson stuff of like, he explains where he is and the history of the town. And he's so good at kind of, painting the picture of what he's seeing when he's there and stuff like that. It's like, well, how are you going to make this into a movie about just two, again, bumbling guys going through hiking? And I thought they did about as good a job as you could. I thought it's almost like a starter outdoor movie. I guess the my mark for a movie, and if it's successful or not when it comes to any activity, is how well do you portray the activities, right? I think my great a great example of this is Mystery Alaska, because if you watch Mystery Alaska, which is a hockey movie that takes place in Alaska, and it's supposed to be this like ragtag bunch of guys who play in Alaska and they take on the New York Rangers. Great premise, but but you can tell like most of the people who are playing hockey do not play ice hockey. And if you know anything about the sport whatsoever, it's so hard to watch a lot of the hockey scenes because these people do not play hockey. And I think
basically it's the cliffhanger of hockey.
That's right.
The vertical limit of hockey. Maybe the cliffhanger and the vertical limit of hockey.
Okay, so we're already off the rails here, like on point number one, because like the vertical limit is so ridiculous.
Yeah, there is a lot of shark jumping happening in that movie.
It becomes entertaining by default. And
That's true. We devoted an entire episode to it.
We did
2 years ago.
God, we should just maybe every year. I think we should just do it again.
Once a year, a vertical anniversary.
You know what? After Christmas every year from now on, we're doing vertical limit.
It's our Die Hard.
Maybe we bring on a third person every time.
And we just surprise them and tell them this is
what we're doing today. Did you watch it?
About it.
So, anyway, I think A Walk in the Woods was like it was fine. The outdoorsy stuff was okay enough. And it just was like, it's okay. It was okay.
Okay. Yeah, it was okay. No, I didn't like it at all. I didn't like it at all. I can't even, it hurts to say okay. Because the thing, Bill Bryson is, as you said, an amazing place setter. He will put you right there.
Yeah.
And then what he does, and it's kind of akin to what, if you're familiar with Brendan Leonard, who does Semi-Rad, it's kind of similar. He's an everyday guy, and he centers himself as the butt of the joke a lot of times. It's very self-deprecating, that is, and it especially shows up in A Walk in the Woods. So in some ways, that aspect of it comes across with these two bumbling guys. But I just think, I did not like the acting. I didn't know who the audience was. I think it was maybe aimed at an older audience. You know how sometimes films will really lean into we're going to make this a movie for old folks instead of making a movie about older folks that can appeal to everyone. So it's like the AARP-ization of it instead of just telling the story and realizing there probably would be threads that people would connect to. You don't just have to relegate it to movies for old folks because I think it's done in a really pandering way. That's how the movie came across to me. It didn't come across as, droll and funny to me as the book did.
It definitely didn't. And it's not like, we're going to get into Wild in a second, and it probably feels like there's a companionship there between the book and the movie, and it's not like the best, Lord of the Rings is probably the best example of you can have one experience reading the books and have an entirely different experience watching the movies, and they're fulfilling in their own way. There is not, there is there's the premise here. And then also I do find it funny that, Bill Bryson, if you see him, is built a little bit more who played Cats? It was
it was
oh my God.
We did a good job researching beforehand. Not Nick Nolte. Was it Nick Nolte? Yeah.
So Nick Nolte, who plays Cats, he's built a little more like Nick Nolte, and yet they casted Robert Redford, who is eternally handsome no matter how old he is.
See, that's the thing. I think so much of what failed about this movie was the casting. Immediately, I went and saw it in the theater. That's because I was like, all right, I want to support outdoor movies.
Yeah.
It's a trail movie. I like Bill Bryson. And I was immediately I wasn't excited when I saw it was the two of them. The trailer didn't really do it for me, but I was going to give it a chance. But the two of them were so miscast just on a deep, abiding level. I can think of, I can't actually right now. Don't ask me to think of the people I would have cast, but it wouldn't have been those two.
I think right there is the and everything you're saying is valid and accurate. I think the reason probably why I had a better experience with it, because I probably watched it on Netflix on my phone. It was just
lower bar.
Yeah, it's it had been a while. I never saw that. Let's just, watch it. And it's it's all right. It was just it was an easy way to kill 90 minutes and have it remind me of why I love the book.
That's fair. It didn't remind me of that at all. But I get the idea of the everyman's movie, right? I don't know that it succeeded in that mission. I almost think of, and this is a wild card that not a lot of people are going to know, but Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen did a movie together called The Way.
Yeah.
And it's
Martin Sheen. It was Martin Sheen and Emilio Estevez, right?
Not Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie was
absolutely not Charlie. He was somewhere else.
Which you
probably
can't
doing drugs.
That's a good point. I've been trying to watch The Way. It's not streaming anywhere. I think you can buy it, I believe, on
to stream.
PVOD,
probably.
but yeah.
But you could probably get it from the library. But from one of the streaming services the library uses. They're excellent. If you haven't used them, Canopy and Overdrive. But yeah, that movie.
Pop culture hack right there.
I know. That's what I'm here for. Dropping the knowledge. But yeah, that movie to me, it's a little more niche as far as the subject matter because less people know about the Camino de Santiago. But I think that movie maybe digs into it. It feels deeper. It feels like it isn't just there for laughs. It isn't just there to fill the annual old folks movie niche.
Right.
It actually gets somewhere, and it's not like I don't think it's great cinema by any means, but I think it shows the heart of that trail. It shows like a real human experience, and I think that would be more of a gateway drug type of movie if people were interested in hiking and having a deeper experience, but not maybe like, you know, high adventure hiking, more cozy hiking.
You should start a Shawnté recommends a section on the website.
Oh,
Right.
I'm here for it.
Links, trailers, books,
I would
movies.
love to recommend.
Okay. We can start putting it. It could be like a weekly little thing in the newsletter too. Send me a pop culture
Let
recommendation.
me recommend. I mean, you do know this is my day job is licensing music to film, TV, advertising, etc.
We probably should have started with that too. That's the reason why you're the expert here. Yeah.
That's okay. I also was in The Notebook. I don't know if you knew that.
No, you weren't.
Yes, I was.
You're just making things up now because you know that like every time I talk to you, there's another thing that you reveal about yourself.
True. It's true, but that is true. I have photos I can show you later.
Were you an extra?
I was an extra. Well, I got cast in a speaking role, and then I couldn't make it because I had to work that day. This is when I used to be a school social worker. And so they wanted me in the movie still. They just cast me as an extra. And then the director came up to me, Nick Cassavetes, and he's like, I like your look. Can you shag? And shagging in the American terminology of the American
Thank you.
Southeast
Important
is a beach dance.
Yes.
It's very shuffly beach dance. And I said, and also the name of an excellent movie starring Phoebe Cates. I told him I could not shag. And then he said, well, can you swing dance? And then I said, way too enthusiastically for someone who doesn't know how to swing dance. Yeah, I love it. I do it all the time.
You're like, this is my opportunity to be in this movie and I'm blowing it. So I got to say yes to whatever he says next.
Oh, bless that poor choreographer and my dance partner.
Wait a second. So were you trying to be an actor at one point?
Not at all. No, they were filming it in Charleston when I lived there. And so my friend and I took
So
photos
how did you get
of each
cast
other.
in a speaking role though?
I don't know. It's a mystery to me.
They just called you out of the blue? Like we have this part for you in a movie?
I mean, I applied to be, they had an open casting call. So we just took photos of each other, got them developed at the 1 hour photo mart. That was still a thing back then. And sent in our little like open casting call application thing. And yes, I got a call back.
All right. So young Gosling versus current day older Gosling. What's your preference?
Oh, I
think he's aging magnificently. That's why I'm saying
just
it.
magnificently.
He looks so good. I want his hair. I'm like, that's every new haircut he has. I'm like, I want that haircut.
He's got a very River Phoenix kind of hair vibe, like very impeccable. He's a good egg. I've met him multiple times, not just on the set when we talked about ramen noodles together.
Oh my God.
But
why are you doing a podcast with me? That's ultimately what this comes down to.
This is how I'm going to launch my new What Has Shawnté Done and Who Does She Know podcast.
Yeah, yes.
Sorry to everybody who thought they were going to hear about the outdoors.
Well, we're going to get to the end at the end of the pod why you should care about this, but okay. Not you, like the listeners.
Not me. I should care about it. I do care.
You care about your personal history. It's fine.
I do. I lived it.
Anyway, moving on to Wild, which you were not in.
I was not. I mean, I did write a guidebook to the PCT, but I was not in the movie.
Okay, so this is what I did not. I'll admit, I have not read the book.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, Colin. Okay. What? All right. Well, we'll get to the book. What did you think about the movie?
So actually, Justin and I talked about it on the pod maybe a year or so ago. Neither one of us had seen it, and understand why it's so beloved. I thought Reese Witherspoon was incredible. I liked the sort of abstract way they did the story to kind of make it almost like you're sort of kind of in her head most of the time. And it's not just sort of like we start here, then go here, then end here kind of storytelling. But the outdoor parts to me, this is where I come back to. I didn't think I thought they did not nail them in a bad way, where it took me out of those the emotionality of the movie, which was obviously the root of the movie and how emotional this woman's journey was and everything like that. But it just then I wrote notes. They read this guy Greg, and he literally is outdoor retailer the character, and I'm like, I fucking hate this. Like, I'm so mad right now as an outdoor guy. Like, listen to like just these like ham-fisted way they're like forcing in like outdoor references. It's driving me crazy. So it really made it hard for me to enjoy the movie.
Greg ruining everything.
Fucking Greg.
The thing is, Wild. Now, here's another example. A movie. Well, what's the real audience for Wild? It's
not
not
me.
a movie. It's not you. It's not you. Just like A Walk in the Woods was not me.
Right.
But Wild is not, and this is sacrilege to some. Wild is not an outdoor movie, and it's not a movie about hiking. The book is not an outdoor book, and it's not a book about hiking.
Oh, interesting take. Okay. Say more.
That's where people get Wild wrong. And what's funny is on the PCT we have something we call the Wild effect, and it's most often said with complete derision, like, oh, you can ask people, start at Campo, down at the southern terminus of the trail. You can ask people, and I don't even know what the number would be of how many people would say to this day they are out there because of Wild.
Oh, for sure.
And whether they read the book or whether they saw the movie or both. And it's funny because a lot like another movie that you and I have bantered about off tape, Into Thin Air, it's not a movie that is...
Oh, Everest. You mean the Everest, the adaptation they did with the one with Jake Gyllenhaal?
No. It's just the idea of movies that are not the most flattering portrayal of an outdoor pursuit, but many people get really excited. Like, wait, I'm inspired by this. I want to do this thing.
Right.
Wild is a movie about somebody's inner journey to sort of come through grief and trauma and come out the other side whole.
Absolutely.
And people saw this movie, people read the book, and they're like, maybe it will work for me. I cannot tell you how many people I've met on trail that the movie was about that for them and the book was about that for them. And whether or not they had that experience out there, I don't know, but you really can't hike for 5 months without it changing you fundamentally. So...
But doesn't that by default kind of make it an outdoor movie? If people are literally going out to do the thing, it kind of then drags it over into that,
your definition of an outdoor movie?
Well,
see, to me, it is ostensibly that the outdoors is almost like it's the framework, I guess you could say, but the movie just doesn't, it's not about hiking.
But there are people who call like Happy Gilmore a hockey movie. I think it's because...
Isn't it about golf?
Yeah, well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So I don't know. I think I hear what you're saying, and I think you're right. At the heart of it, it is a grief movie. It is a growth movie. It is the journey this woman went on to kind of come out on the other side, and that's what makes it so. That is what makes it so good, and that's why that was my takeaway watching it. But putting it in the outdoor lens, I definitely fell short, but I don't know. It's a weird, I guess that's because you are right about like the Into Thin Air we talked about with the book, where I read that book and then was all charged up to go climb mountains. I'm gonna go up Everest. I'm gonna do it better. But also that is a story that takes place exclusively basically at Everest Base Camp to then the summit and back down. Versus Wild is not that, right?
I bet if you counted the minutes in the film that are actually on trail, I mean, everybody remembers when she threw her boot. Thru hikers remember when she goes to Kennedy Meadows and they kind of dump through and go through her pack. You remember when she starts at Tehachapi. I've been in that exact spot, and she's in the desert and has no idea what the hell to do, can't light her stove. So
outdoor
all
movie.
of that
is
outdoorsy. Yeah, okay. But it's not a river runs through it. Like, I think it, yes, all right.
Oh, that's one we should talk about too, by the way.
We should.
Yeah.
It's outdoorsy. Like, it definitely falls in that bucket. People watch it when they want to get psyched about hiking, I think.
Yeah.
But it really, large parts of the movie have nothing to do with the outdoors.
Of course. And are tough to watch.
Yeah.
River Runs Through it, interesting comp, because as a non-fly fishing person, I wonder what a true fly fishing person feels about a river runs through it. Because I'm like, that's amazing. Look at them go. Look at them just casting those lines. Wow. Versus like the Kennedy Meadows scene in Wild. I'm like, shut up, dude. Nobody talks like this. Nobody talks like this. Like, I'm just mad about it,
If you only knew how people talk down the trail. I've met people who talk like that.
Okay, then you're probably right.
Yeah, alas.
All right, folks. Time to set the record straight. A few weeks back, listeners heard me rant on about a new sandal from Lem's Shoes. That sandal, the new switchback sandal, is a classic single-strap, single-post style that I, without much knowledge, accused of Me Tooing. And look, in hindsight, it's hard to Me Too a style that's thousands of years old, right? What I wasn't informed on was Lem's unique take on making footwear, and let's just say a few rocks were thrown back at me, and rightly so, because Lem's has really elevated the design of minimalist, natural movement footwear, anatomically correct fit, zero drop comfort, and lightweight outdoor performance. And the switchback? It's crafted from a single piece of material and features a unique single strap design with one buckle for super ease of use, added comfort, and getting it on outside. You can personally check it out yourself when it becomes available on Wednesday, April 23rd. And oh, hey, retailers, did you know that Lems is looking for wholesale partners? Hit them up at support@lemsshoes.com to add a little flavor to your shoe wall. And be sure to stop by and say hi to the Lems team at their booth at Switchback in Nashville this June. So to all the Lems fans I may have offended, my sincerest apologies. And to Lems, well, you did pay for this advertisement, but more importantly, you made a believer out of me. I've eaten my words, and they tasted like freedom. Check out the new Switchback sandal by heading to lemsshoes.com. Well, so interesting, kind of the next one we were going to talk about was Touching the Void. And the thing I thought that was interesting about Touching the Void, and probably, I doubt a lot of people at this point listening to this may be even familiar with Touching the Void. Have you seen,
Yeah.
Now I've read the book and seen the movie. Are you the same?
Yeah, but it's been a long time since I read the book. So I remember the movie is a little bit more vivid in my memory.
So Touching the Void is the story of Joe Simpson, who was climbing down in Patagonia, I believe, is in Chile, right? And with a partner, I can't remember the partner's name, Simon, I believe his name was, and caught up high up on the mountain, got caught in a storm, had an accident, and was caught dangling at the end of a rope, and his climbing partner had literally no choice but to cut the rope. And the partner descended thinking that Joe had died. He had not, and he had to crawl back to base camp. And that's basically the story. Incredible survival tale. It's reading the book, yeah, you get a little of that into thin air. Like, it's almost like, wow, what an amazing tale. I want to go have a big adventure like this. The reason why I feel like that movie works better than either Wild or A Walk in the Woods or whatever from an outdoorsy perspective is it's a docudrama where the main characters are narrating it, but the reenactments are incredible. If you've not
they're next level.
It's like they filmed the actual thing happening.
Yeah.
The clothing, the gear, the conditions, all authentic. You feel like you're there. Nothing is out of place where you're like, okay, that's obviously not, like, they didn't get that thing right. Everything they got right. And then obviously there's still actors, right? Because there's moments where they're showing them dangling from the rope. They have to do all that. And it's just, it's probably kind of for me, one of the quintessential, if you want an outdoor adventure experience on film, that's not something like Free Solo where it's like a true documentary.
Right.
I would recommend this, probably stop number one.
What do you think puts this above all others for you? Is it that cinematography and that feeling of place and the stakes?
I think so, because it is a true story. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
And because it is so wild, because all the things I said at the beginning about how, you don't see the seams. You don't see, like, if you're familiar, if you're an alpinist, you're not going to be nitpicking this, and it's, and I don't think this format maybe gets used enough we're narrating it. It's a documentary, but it's a reenactment versus just showing, like, photos and, little video clips that we happen to have left over from the expedition. They recreated a lot of it. Because then on the flip side, they did make a movie of Into Thin Air called Everest. And I just thought, like, that just felt like kind of like a better
like
vertical limit.
Schmaltz, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Yes, a better vertical limit is a great Jake Gyllenhaal. Like, what a weird, it was such a strange movie.
It was supposed to be Scott Fisher, I think.
Oh, yeah. It was so bad.
Yeah.
It was just, it felt like glossed over. It
Right.
felt just very Holly weird. When people say that is a great, whereas this felt like, yeah, you're not going to watch this and nitpick, like you said. You're going to be taken in by the story. You're going to be excited because it's a true story. You're also going to be really taken in by the scenery that felt really realistic. The stakes felt realistic. Yeah, it is a great movie, and I agree. I could see more movies capturing that drama. I mean, 127 hours, which we've mentioned a few times.
We should talk about it.
Yeah, and I feel like that's another movie in that same realm where you have high stakes, you have a true story, you have kind of in a way, it's man versus nature, but I think it's less that, and it's man versus self in nature, because the mountains aren't doing shit to these people. Like, you took a wrong move, you made a decision, and now you're stuck in this place and you have to deal with your shit. So it's like when people, I really dislike the trope of like the conqueror, people conquering the mountain. The mountain does not give a shit. You're never conquering the mountain. The
I
mountain
hate
is
that
just
word.
there.
It makes me so mad.
Oh, it's such bullshit.
Yes.
The mountain is there. It exists. What you're actually conquering when you're out doing these things, whether it's a through hike or you're doing some gnarly ice climbing or whatever the hell it is you are conquering something within yourself. Maybe you have a goal you're setting. Maybe you have fears that you're moving through. But yeah, this idea that somehow man versus nature just doesn't always ring true for me, because I think it's a false dichotomy. I think it's most often us against ourselves out there, or us trying to make ourselves better through the process.
Yeah, 127 hours, and we'll forgive the James Franco of it all. We know we're not supposed to talk about him anymore, unfortunately. It just makes me mad when people who are like, "Oh, that guy's great." You're like, "Oh, you too?" Anyway.
Yep.
It's like it is that kind of next level of it. It's not the docudrama that Touching the Void was, but it's pretty damn close. I mean, Danny Boyle's incredible as a director, and another one where just the little things. I mean, you and I are both Nalgene aficionados. Like in the beginning when they're with a close up shot of them filling up the water bottle, and it's like and one, how important that water bottle is going to be.
Foreshadowing,
right? But also for people like you and me. You're like, yep, that's the water bottle this guy would be taking with him on a day trip to the desert to go jump around 100%. Canyons and stuff like that. And it's just those little touches that make these things super effective. And because it is like, and that's, you shouldn't make a movie based off of like the 2% of people like you and I who would who would notice those things. But boy, does it make it so much better when it's like when you did the little extras. That's what I'm looking at.
Easter eggs almost. This is why, Colin, people should be hiring us as consultants. Listen, we know all about this stuff. Just hire us, rockfight, filmconsultants.com.org.edu. We're here for you.
It's a .edu. That's right. It's educational.
Just whatever we need.
That's right.
Whatever we need to get to the people.
Yeah. Are you going out and you're going in the outdoors in any capacity? Because look, we have a big network. Maybe if you're doing a sport that we don't personally do, we know people. Don't worry about it.
We know people.
Yeah.
Probably too many people.
Seriously.
Take our people.
Is there any other films that you can think of that kind of fit into this conversation? I mean, I think Everest is one. Like, I just, that was very disappointed. But I mean, in terms of the sort of...
So bad.
I feel like this is a good representation of a good place to start of like the films that at least took us... And the Wild Conversation is interesting, you not calling it an outdoor movie. I thought that was kind of interesting. But I feel like we kind of like, this is a good little starting point for our pop culture journey.
That's right. I love this. We are on a pop culture journey together. But I think we're going to probably throw some people off with this. They're not expecting, unless they heard our beautiful, beautiful discussion of Vertical Limit.
That's right.
That we were going to launch this very Siskel and Ebert-esque side tangent.
Love it.
Yeah,
the only thing we will not discuss in this segment is the 2015 remake of Point Break, because that was...
it doesn't exist. That's
exactly. That was a bad dream we all had collectively.
Yeah.
Edgar Ramirez had amazing hair in that movie. Other than that, I can't remember a single thing about it, frankly. So what are we doing? Why would you try to remake a perfect film?
You don't need to remake Bodhi. There's only one Bodhi.
One of my 14-year-olds is going through an early Keanu phase.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, she loves Keanu and thinks he's the most handsome man who ever lived.
And I'm like, not wrong. He's still doing good.
Looks pretty good. Very handsome for an older guy. Yep. Yeah, Point Break's your favorite movie. Guy. So,
I love it.
Yeah. All right, look, we recognize that we may be in the minority here, that there's a dedicated collection of outdoor enthusiasts who refuse to participate in things other than outdoorsy things. We all have those friends, right? I call them the I don't watch sports, I do sports crowd, right? They don't like mainstream sports. They don't like the topics we're covering on today's episode. So that's why Shawnté, who is, like I said, our very own Gear Abby, she's going to explain a few things to you in a regular segment we're calling Shawnté Explains.
Wow, thank you.
You're welcome.
So here's the thing, Colin. When you say that there's people that would turn their nose up at the idea of talking about pop culture and talking about how it relates to the outdoors, it's not just that that these super hardcore people aren't participating in like regular people shit. Because listen, we all have to eat, we all have to poop, we all have to find a way to keep the lights on.
You managed to work poop in this episode. Well done.
I will always work poop in. But we all have to find our ways to keep the lights on, even if it's the lights in our dirtbag van. But you think Jimmy Chin is out there like, I don't watch movies, I don't watch TV. Give me a break. The man makes movies. Like, we are all consumers of pop culture in our own different ways. There's people sitting in their little Sprinter vans right now, after climbing in the desert, and they're watching season 2 of Severance. They're binging it, just like I am. So it's this idea that people somehow turn their nose up at pop culture. Pop culture is expansive. It's not just the things you hear on the radio. It's not just the things that you're seeing that are, on ABC or Cinemax or whatever. Does Cinemax still exist? Anyway, I think it's HBO Max now.
It is Max, yeah.
Right? I should know that. But so pop
As
culture
our pop
is
culture
not
expert.
this separate thing. This is, yeah, exactly. What is a television set?
What's a streaming service?
Who am I? Yeah. So this idea that there's people, it kind of goes to the same sort of weird thing that happens in the outdoors world, where outdoorsy people are not some special breed. Also, outdoorsy is a lot of different flavors. There's not just one way to be outdoorsy.
Yep.
You're not just a climber only if you live in a van and only if you dirtbag and don't have a job and blah, 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 blah. Like, you're not just a runner only if you run ultras. Like, it's a strange thing. And you get this weird elitism when, uber, super duper outdoorsy, hardcore adventure people talk about us versus them. We see it a lot in the thru hiking world, which I'm pretty deep into. You'll get people who look down their noses on people who complete a trail like the John Muir Trail, Numu Poyo, which is a 220-mile trail. People who are on the PCT will look down on JMT hikers that they're not good enough because they're only doing a 3-week trail versus a 5 or 6 month trail. And, you'll see that in like, oh, you're not a backcountry skier. You're not going out of bounds. Like, okay, come on. People who are out there skiing are just enjoying being out there skiing. It's not a competition. We don't have to prove who is the coolest and most outdoorsy. I think, like, Colin, when you ask me this question, like, what are you getting at? Because I've got more ideas, but I want to make sure I'm touching what you want me to touch, which is not the void.
No, don't touch the void.
I'm trying not to.
Don't be like Joe Simpson.
Rope.
Yeah, this is a bugaboo for me, right? I think I find it would be what a boring life would be if I only was doing outdoorsy stuff and kind of make it not as much fun as it currently is, And I think that's also kind of the mountain town mentality of like, well, if you're not here, then you're not here. It's like, well, no, I'd rather live where I live and have mountains nearby that are maybe as high as yours, but also then I can go to the beach or go to like this restaurant that I like or go to a museum or whatever. I think there is variety is the spice of life. And you know what is awesome? What's awesome is watching like the NFL on a rainy Sunday afternoon in November. It's great,
It's
and
nice.
It is. And it's just like, I think that that outdoorsy people should care about pop culture and mainstream stuff. I just do.
Well, and I think, Colin, they do. They just don't want to talk about it because it will steal cool credit or whatever. But on cool credit. Listen, one of the most outdoorsy people I know, she's a climber, she's a mountain biker, she does like cyclocross, all this other stuff. She's an outdoor photographer. People know her face. She's everywhere. She's been in a ton of ads. We did some REI ads together back in the day. She is the biggest Taylor Swift nerd and traveled to 10 Taylor Swift shows this year. She's a total Swiftie. She will travel to the Swift just like she will travel for a bike race or travel to go climb somewhere she hasn't climbed. So yeah, this idea that we're monoliths and that somehow makes us cool is also just kind of a lie, I think, because to be a well-rounded human, you have your passions, but you also have all of these other things. And yeah, this idea too that if you're not living in the outdoor town or living out of a vehicle or whatever it may be, that you're not outdoorsy or not outdoorsy enough is bullshit.
Yeah, right.
I live in LA. The amount of times I've gone to outdoor retailer and someone looks at my badge and says, oh, how do you handle living there being an outdoorsy person? I'm like, I handle it just fine, thank you. I'm outside every single day. I'm trail running. I'm going up into the mountains. I've done, outdoor climbing here. You can do the whole, surf and snow thing in a day here if you want. I don't want to, but it's It's all perception. And really, the world doesn't need more people who think they're cooler than other people. It's just, that hasn't been working out for us, guys. So let's try something else. All right. I got one other point here, and this is kind of tangentially related, but one thing I would love to see sort of people who brand themselves and really own this identity as outdoor and adventure people and really hold that as like, this is who I am 110%. What I'd like to see from those people is that they care more about standing up for all of the places in which they do these things that they built their identity on. And standing up for the people in those places, whether you're thinking about it from the perspective of like mountain towns and how people don't have places to live, people who work there, whether you're thinking about what's happening right now with, the federal government, obviously we're seeing exponential destruction of the public good.
Yeah.
And we've got now the Department of the Interior being tasked with increasing logging by 25% and on our federal lands, and that includes forests. And these are forests in which people are mountain biking and climbing and kayaking and doing all of these other things. What I'd like to see is people drop the cool kid thing that like, oh, all I do is my activity. Now stand up for that. Stand up for it. Like, get out there. If you're a person who wants to be in community, go to marches, participate. There's so many conservation groups that could use help right now. You've got them talking about stripping 501c3 status. That's the tax exempt, the nonprofit status from these organizations because they talk about climate change.
Right.
Are you kidding me? Look at politicians that actually are aligned with their values. Caroline Gleick is a ski mountaineer in Utah who ran for Congress. Like, big ups to her because that is not an easy thing to do, but she is always walking the walk. Protect Our Winters is an organization I think a lot of skiers, snowboarders, ice climbers, alpinists are participating in, which is great to see. Anyway, like, take that identity and wrap it up into something that's meaningful outside of your own existence. I think that's really important. So go hike a Triple Crown trail like the Appalachian Trail or the PCT, and then donate to the groups who are out there supporting those lands and go out and volunteer on a trail crew, Go enjoy Dawn Patrol and figure out how you can plug in to support ocean health, There's ways out there to do it. That's what I'd like to see.
See, the rock fight, you come for Bill Bryson, you stay for the public lands chat.
That's right. Love a public lands chat. I like a call to action, Colin.
That's awesome. Well said. We are recording this on Earth Day.
That's true.
And I was waiting as I was chatting with Tanya over at Outdoor Alliance because Adam from Outdoor Alliance is going to come on the show soon, and she's like, let me see what happens on Earth Day because there's a lot of rumors that there's going to be a bunch of rollbacks.
So many rumors.
And it's like, and if that happens, let's try and get Adam on this week. I'm like, I'm waiting. I'm ready. I checked in with her at midday. She's like, I haven't heard anything yet. I'm going to let you know by the end of the day. Thankfully, nothing happened today. Doesn't mean it's not going to, but...
Doesn't mean it's not going to.
It is going to.
I would love to see people be more engaged. I really think that's that's something we're missing right now. And if you look back to great social movements of the past, like the civil rights era is probably like the big one that people can think of in our, not quite our lifetimes, but leading into our lifetime.
Right.
That's the kind of thing is that just imagine, think about how many people, outdoor industry is a massive industry. Think about the money it brings in and think about all of the people participating in these sports and these ventures that bring in that money. Now think about if all of them figured out ways to stand up for people in place. Like, that's all I'm asking. I think we all have a responsibility to sort of be better stewards to each other and to the land.
And then when you go home at night, what movie should you watch? It's probably less outdoorsy, more like All the President's Men. It's...
Oh my gosh. Right? Maybe not something depressing, honestly. Watch Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
That's kind of an outdoor movie.
Yeah.
It's like a road trip. He's got a bike, right?
Yes, exactly.
Got Large Marge driving him around. Come on.
Aww. Yeah. The Alamo, that's how I learned there wasn't a basement.
The Alamo. That's right.
I would have never known.
That's right. We did learn that from that movie. Anything else? You good?
I'm good.
All right. That's the show for today, everybody. We want your emails. Send them to myrockfight@gmail.com. The Rock Fight's a production of Rockfight LLC for Shawnté Salabert. I'm Colin True. We'll be doing more of these pop culture episodes coming up, whether you like it or not, folks. Let us know if you like it. Let us know if you don't like it. But we're going to be doing more because Shawnté and I have a lot to say. Thanks for listening. And he's here to take us out. Krista Makes. By the way, Krista Makes, in San Diego, you're going to have to come down. July 23rd, just announced, Streetlight Manifesto. July
Oh, my goodness.
27th, Less Than Jake? Come on. It's going to be the greatest week of my life. Like two of my favorite
goodness.
bands in the same
Just
week.
imagine if like a 90s influenced ska band was also playing. You would lose your mind, Colin.
I'm trying to think. I don't know who's opening it. I'm very excited. Anyway, Krista Makes is here. He's going to sing the Rock Fight Fight song. We'll see you next time, Rock Fighters.
Rock fight.